It is the autumn of 1775. Americans are in the throes of revolution, at war with themselves. The day before, these men were Jacob Bowman's friends and neighbors. Now, they are a mob of enemies.
My grandfather was surprised at night by a party of rebels, and with his eldest son was taken prisoner. His house was pillaged. There my grandmother was with 6 children without any provisions in the house at the commencement of winter.
The Bowman family is guilty of no crime but loyalty to England. Loyalty to the wrong side. It will cost Jacob and his eldest son 4 years of their lives. All over the 13 colonies, others like the Bowmans will suffer. Their homes and fields burned, driven from their land, beaten, humiliated. In the next 40 years, the question of loyalties will twice turn North America into a battleground and trigger the greatest mass migration in its history. It will first divide, then uproot the Indian nations, making them refugees in their own land. And it will change the face of the continent, creating one country and planting the seeds of another. A year before the revolution, Quebec City is at peace. In the dozen years since the conquest, French and English have reached an accommodation of sorts. Quebec has become part of the British Empire without losing its language, its French laws, or its Catholic religion. In return, the seigneurs and the church leaders, the elite of Quebec society, have pledged their loyalty to Britain. Governor Guy Carleton feels confident and secure.
I have had the satisfaction of finding His Majesty's Canadian subjects impressed with the strongest sense of the King's great goodness toward them. The Canadians have testified to me the strongest marks of joy and gratitude to the King and his government. I am convinced their fidelity and zeal might be depended on.
But in the world outside the governor's mansion, rebellion is brewing. On the night of the governor's ball, a Montreal merchant begins spreading a message from the American rebels. Thomas Walker has always hated British military rule. Now he has become a militant Republican. Under the guise of selling wheat in the rural districts, he begins selling sedition instead. Walker circulates a proclamation from the American rebels inviting Quebec to join the revolution. It is both an appeal and a threat.
Seize the opportunity. Take a noble chance for emerging from a humiliating subjection under governors and military tyrants into the firm rank and condition of free English citizens. You are a small people compared to those who invite you into a fellowship. A moment's reflection should convince you which will be most for your interest and happiness. To of all the rest of North America, your unalterable friends, or your inveterate enemies.
Walker begins recruiting Canadians to join the rebel cause. A young carpenter from Sainte-Famille who drums up volunteers. A wealthy merchant from La Pocatière who guarantees clothing and muskets to new recruits. In the words of one seigneur, they are preaching rebellion everywhere and raising holy hell. The loudest voice opposing the rebellion is the Church. Its leaders know the Americans will never recognize the Catholic religion as the British have done. The bishop decrees that anyone who takes up arms against the king will be denied the sacraments and the right to Christian burial. But on a Sunday morning in Trois-Rivières, young notary Jean-Baptiste Badeau wonders if his fellow parishioners are listening.
We received the blessing of the Holy Sacrament, and we began praying fervently during Mass and at the offering. There were very good Christians all around us, but how many others were there as well? As they were leaving church, I heard with my own ears several people saying they came to pray for an American victory. This is how far our faith has fallen. No wonder God has thrown a dark cloud over our miserable province.
The cloud bursts at Lexington, Massachusetts in April 1775. The shot heard round the world plunges Britain and her 13 colonies into war. And Canadians are rapidly drawn into America's revolution. The rebel commander, George Washington, is determined to seize Quebec before Britain can use it as a springboard to invade the 13 colonies.
I need not mention the great importance of this place and the consequent possession of all Canada. If it is ours, success, I think, will most certainly crown our struggles. If it is theirs, the contest, at least, will be doubtful, hazardous, and bloody.
Washington's network of spies in Quebec reports that Canadians have uncertain loyalties. They might not join the revolution, but they will not resist it either. In Montreal, the widow Thérèse Baby writes to her family in Quebec City.
My dear brother, you cannot imagine the panic that has overtaken us all. Many people have sent their documents and valuables to the country, and many people are getting ready to leave altogether. I've decided to risk staying with my 2 daughters. I'm saddened by all this, but then again it makes me laugh to see how some cowards can no longer hide their fear.
Most Canadians want no part of a war they regard as a family feud between 2 brands of Englishmen. When the governor calls up the militia, most refuse to take up arms. Carleton now faces a bitter reality. He must defend the province with only a small force of British redcoats.
Not 600 rank and file fit for duty upon the whole extent of this great river. Not an armed vessel. No place of strength. The ancient provincial force enervated and broke to pieces. All subordination overset, and the minds of the people poisoned with the same hypocrisy and lies practiced with such success in other provinces, which their emissaries and friends here have spread abroad with great art and diligence.
With his province divided and his army outnumbered, Carleton knows he is vulnerable. And so do the American rebels. In the summer of 1775, General Washington sends 2 armies to invade Quebec. One force of 1,000 men will sail up Lake Champlain and the Richelieu River to strike at Montreal. It is led by Richard Montgomery, once a captain in the British Army, now the youngest Major General in the American Army. But the second attack is to be the real surprise. Coming up through the wilds of Maine, and then up the Chaudière to assault Quebec. This backdoor route is so treacherous that even the Indian raiding parties spurn it. It is led by a Connecticut hothead who will be one of the Revolution's greatest heroes, then its most despised traitor.
I am now on my march to Quebec to restore liberty to our brethren of Canada.
Benedict Arnold has been everything. A sea captain, a horse trader, a smuggler. Now he wants to try his hand at conquest. Arnold has often done business in Quebec, where one of his partners was the spy Thomas Walker. Walker now assures him that Quebec is ripe for the taking.
The bulk of the people, both English and Canadians, wish well to your cause. Few in this colony dare vent their griefs, but groan in silence, and dream of confiscations and imprisonments, offering up their prayers to the throne of grace to prosper your righteous cause, which alone can free us from those fears and apprehensions that rob us of our peace.
Arnold is still 6 weeks away, but Montgomery's army has already begun the invasion. Thanks to Walker, several hundred Canadians have joined their ranks, and Quebec is falling to the invader piece by piece. By mid-September, they are on the doorstep to Montreal. Now all that stands between the city and the enemy is the British fort at Saint-Jean. The Americans surround it, cut its supply lines, and bring up the siege guns. Inside the fort are a few hundred British regulars and a handful of Canadian militia. There are also 80 women and children. For the first few weeks, they carefully count every musket cartridge and ration every scrap of food, and the siege is bearable. For 7 grim weeks, they hold out. But on the last night, the American guns pound the fort for 8 long hours. By morning, British Lieutenant Joan Andre knows it is the end.
The situation of the sick and wounded was a very cruel one. They were neither out of reach of danger nor sheltered from the inclemency of the weather. There was now nothing left but to frame the best articles we could for the garrison.
A surrender with honor. On November 3rd, the battered garrison at Fort Saint-Jean gives in. Much of the British Army is now in captivity. Montreal is defenseless.
You can't imagine we're in the worst possible situation. The governor has just told les Canadiens they are free to leave or to stay. I think we are doomed. And we are waiting to be taken. I'm sure this is the last letter I can send you.
A few days later, Montgomery's Americans take Montreal without a fight. Some welcome them as liberators, declaring, "Our hearts have always desired the union offered to us by our brothers of the colonies." Governor Carleton escapes Montreal at the last minute and flees to Quebec City. En route, he is stunned by the news he must defend it against not one, but two invading armies. Fortunately for Carleton, Benedict Arnold's army is a wreck. The map George Washington gave him is 15 years old and underestimates the distance to Quebec by 200 miles. Most of Arnold's boats have been smashed to pieces, the food and supplies swept away in the freezing water. The survivors are reduced to eating their candles and shaving soap, even the leather of their shoes.
Many of the men began to fall behind, and those in any condition to march were scarcely able to support themselves, so that it was impossible to bring them along. If we tarried with them, we must all have perished. Private George Morrison.
It is a skeleton army that finally emerges at Point-Levis to stare across at the ramparts of Quebec. Of the 1,200 men who started out, less than 700 remain. But Arnold is still eager for battle. On the morning of November the 15th, he marches his men onto the plains outside the city walls and taunts the garrison to come out and fight.
I am ordered by His Excellency General Washington to take possession of the town of Quebec. I do therefore, in the name of the United Colonies, demand immediate surrender of the town and fortifications.
Inside the fortress, Governor Carleton makes a show of burning the ultimatum without reading it. But he knows that Montgomery's army is approaching from Montreal to join the siege. And privately, he doesn't hold out much hope.
Could the people of the town be depended upon, I should flatter myself we might hold out. But we have so many enemies within a foolish people, dupes to those traitors, with the natural fears of men unused to war. I think our fate extremely doubtful, to say nothing worse.
While Quebec City digs in for the fourth siege in its history, Governor Carleton resorts to desperate measures.
I do hereby order all who have refused to enroll their names in the militia lists and to take up arms to quit the town in 4 days, together with their wives and children, under pain of being treated as rebels or spies.
Outside, camped on the plains of Abraham, Montgomery and Arnold have their own problem. Nearly half of the American army is due to be released because their enlistments expire on New Year's Day. Time is running out. The Americans know it, and so does the garrison inside Quebec.
In the night, a deserter from the rebels came in at the palace gate. It was the deserter's opinion that we'd be attacked on the first snowy or stormy night.
For a week, the skies are clear. But on New Year's Eve, the weather turns. And finally, the Americans attack. The plan is to take Lower Town first, then rush the fortress. At 2 o'clock in the morning, Montgomery attacks on one flank, leading a force of about 300. All that stands in his way is a band of 30 Canadian militiamen and a few British seamen. They're outnumbered 10-1, but they have one advantage. In the driving snowstorm, Montgomery never sees them. The Canadians fire a single devastating volley. Montgomery and most of his officers are cut down. The rest of the Americans flee back to camp. Benedict Arnold knows none of this. His force of 700, attacking from the other side of Lower Town, runs a gauntlet of fire below the city walls. Arnold himself is stopped by a musket ball in the leg, but his men fight their way to the rendezvous in Lower Town where Montgomery is supposed to join them. They don't know he's already dead, and no one is coming. But Governor Carleton knows. He sends a force of Canadian militia to circle around behind and cut off their retreat. Arnold's men wait, and in waiting, they lose the battle.
The enemy having the advantage of the ground in front, a vast superiority of numbers and dry and better arms gave them an irresistible power in so narrow a space. It was apparent to all of us that we must surrender. It was done.
"400 Americans surrender. Another 80 are dead, in snow now so deep many of the bodies will not be found until spring. Now, even those Canadians who secretly prayed for an American victory turn against them. The fortress has held. As soon as the ice breaks on the St. Lawrence, British ships arrive with reinforcements, and the American invasion of Quebec, begun almost a year earlier, collapses in failure. The governor's annual ball that year celebrates a great victory. But before the revolution is over, Canada will again be invaded by Americans. This time, though, it will not be her armies, but her refugees.
Farewell, unhappy land, for which my heart bleeds in pity. Little does it signify to you who are the conquered or who the victorious. You are devoted to ruin, whoever succeeds. Janet Shaw.
By the summer of 1776, the revolution has become a bloody struggle between the United States and Britain. In New York City, a mob celebrates the Declaration of Independence by toppling a statue of King George III and melting it down for musket balls. But the revolution has left Americans deeply divided. On one side, the rebels who support independence. On the other, the British loyalists. The rebels declare them enemies of American liberty. Thousands of families are driven out, paying the price of their loyalty with exile. Before it is over, the revolution will make refugees of 100,000 loyalists, and nearly half of them will find refuge in the land that will become Canada. Rich, poor, black, white, Indian. Their flight is one of the great mass migrations in North American history. Hannah Ingraham is 11 years old when her family is forced from their farm in Albany County, New York. She saw her grandfather taken by the rebels to a prison ship, and her father flee to join the British Army.
We had a comfortable farm, plenty of cows and sheep. But when the war began and Father joined the Redcoats, the rebels took it all away. My father was in the army 7 years. Mother was 4 years without hearing from him whether he was alive or dead. Anyone would be hanged right up if they were caught bringing letters. Oh, they were terrible times.
For Hannah, Canada is still a year and a voyage of nearly 1,000 miles away. Others have already fled there with a price on their heads. These loyalists will form the guerrilla armies that are Britain's best weapon against the revolution. The Royal Yorkers, Jessup's Loyal Americans, and the most famous of them all, Butler's Rangers. Launching raids from bases in Canada, they are, said one American soldier, harder to find than a pack of wolves in the woods. The revolution has become a bloody civil war. Loyalty to Britain has been declared a crime, punishable by the whipping post and the noose. Jacob Bowman and his son will barely survive the revolution, rotting in a Connecticut prison.
They were there fastened together by a band of iron around their arms and a chain around their ankles. In that condition, they remained 3 years and a half, until the flesh was worn away and the bones laid bare 4 inches.
Young Peter Bowman has never forgotten that night his home was looted and his father and older brother were taken by the rebels. When he passes his 13th birthday, he is old enough to fight back. In 1778, Peter Bowman joins Butler's Rangers. That summer, they begin returning to their homelands in New York State. Savagery will be met with savagery.